Hey guys, Kid Panda back here again. We're doing video 5 now of the PCB collection. We're going to try to wrap up all the loose end boards that I have right now. There's a couple oddball boards in here, so we're going to kind of go through these kind of quick. And then definitely there will be one more video, but we're going to pretty much save the ones that are the most important to me for that last video. So let's go and get started. Alright, first up. This one's a little bit of an oddball. This is a 60-in-1. It is a vertical. A lot of the games that are on it are really old. You got stuff like Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong Jr. There's also Gyrus, Zaxxon, and quite a few other games. Mainly the whole reason why I got this was because stuff like Donkey Kong Jr., and Miss Pac-Man, and stuff like that are pretty much, they work almost flawlessly on these games, or on this particular board. But stuff like Gyrus, Time Pilot, and things like that, Zaxxon for instance, those have horrible sound, horrible sound. So really, if you want to own those games, the 60-in-1 just isn't going to cut it. You're definitely going to need the original board. But I got this real cheap. Usually runs just about under $100, sometimes a lot cheaper. Real small board, real quick and easy. Just takes a little while to boot up, and it works really good. So I recommend, if you want to play some oldies, I definitely recommend picking this one up. I think it'll be definitely worth your time. Alright, next up is a bit of a score. I actually own the bezel for it and the marquee for this game. This is a Taito board. This is Alcon, also known as Slap Fight. I do believe the ROMs have been switched. If I'm not mistaken, when you start it up, it does say Slap Fight. Definitely a pretty unique title for the time. It's very similar to Gradius. It is a vertical shooter, but you actually collect power-ups in the game. I got this at an amazing price, sick price, especially for all the stuff that I got for it. It actually got pulled out of a cabinet that was pretty much dedicated for an Alcon. Picked it up locally. The guy called me and said, "Hey, do you want this? Or are you interested?" Immediately, I was like, "Absolutely, I'll be down there in just a second." Scooped it up, got it really cheap. I definitely recommend this game. It's very unique, very original. It seems like a lot of people are really after this game. But if you ever get a chance, it's a dual layer board, so there's a possibility of some sag on it, but great game. Definitely dig it. If you can pick this up, grab it. Alrighty. Next up is another rotary game. This one is Time Soldiers. I originally played this on the Sega Master System. Was a really cool game, really dug it. A couple years later, I actually found it in an arcade, and I had no idea that this was a rotary style game. So I went ahead and picked that one up, or when I actually started buying stuff, picked this one up really cheap. I actually have the control panel for this game. It's a metal control panel that actually has the dual rotary sticks on it. Sticks are pretty much about as clean as you can get them. I actually have a couple of sets for rotary sticks for different types of game, but definitely I wanted to go ahead and snag this one. Really dig the game. It's very unique. You travel through different times to actually save, I guess, other time soldiers in essence. Pretty decent. If you ever get a chance to pick it up or at least check it out, definitely give it a try. Like I said, in MAME it's probably going to be kind of wonky because it is a rotary style game. You can probably set it up maybe with a dual analog and actually probably do it pretty well or whatever. But I definitely recommend giving this game a whirl if you ever get a chance. Alright, back to a Konami board. This one is Top Gunner, which was also released on the Nintendo as Jackal. It's actually a vertical shooting game, sort of. It actually, you drive a Jeep, and you actually have a forward-firing missile launcher and a machine gun. Game's actually really neat. If you notice, there's actually supposed to be a giant heatsink right here, but I actually had to take the heatsink off because I have to replace the audio amplifier because the audio amplifier is actually dead. Yet again, this is one of the mini Konami games that's actually stereo on it, which is actually pretty nice. But I'm starting to lose a lot of faith in some of the Konami boards, especially any Konami board that has that. That thing loves to die. If I'm not mistaken, that's pretty much custom RAM chips that pretty much can't be replaced at all. But I picked this up really cheap. It had dead audio from the beginning. The game boots up fine and plays fine, just with zero audio on it. Like I said, I just need to order a new amplifier and actually replace the amplifier on it, and everything should be okay. Got it for $10, so I really had to just grab that one, and hopefully soon I'll have the audio amplifier replaced on it, and I'll be able to do another run of Top Gunner. Alright. Next up is a recent purchase from a buddy of mine in Canada. This one is Airbuster, also known as Aeroblasters in different regions as well. Kaneko game, actually a really good game. I love it, but also hate this game. Starting about stage 3 or 4, it actually goes into what I would like to call anti-gravity mode. So when you move a direction, your character or your ship actually just starts to float in that direction. Very annoying, makes the game very hard, and it actually continues on for a couple more stages before you actually get to a gravity stage. Game's a little cheap, pretty hard. When I say cheap, I don't mean as in cheap as in purchase, but it's not an expensive board. But I don't see it come up very often, so I went ahead and snagged it up pretty quick, considering it was kind of a buddy buy, so I went ahead and snagged that one when I got a chance. But if you get a chance, honestly, the Genesis version is pretty spot on. The TurboGrafx/PC Engine version is pretty good as well. Honestly, if you really don't want to mess with the PCB, I recommend picking up one of those versions because they're pretty close on their own. But definitely agree that the Genesis version is probably the closest to the actual arcade PCB. Alright, next up is another Cebu game. Actually, I should probably turn it because it's at the light. But this one is a Raiden Fighters. This is the first game. This was another buddy buy that I picked up from a friend of mine. Absolutely love this game. My battery's actually dead in this one, this battery right here, so I'm actually going to probably do a coin cell mod on this pretty soon. Whenever I get a chance, probably actually do it tomorrow, hopefully. Another stereo title from Cebu. That game is massively loud. I actually dig this one a little more than Raiden Fighters 2, and absolutely love Raiden Fighters 2. This one's a little more akin to the original Raiden as far as, you know, the Raiden Fighters 2 actually started getting a little more crazy, and then the scoring's a little bit different too as well. But definitely for a first outing effort for coming off of Raiden DX, this one's absolutely top notch. This one's not too bad either. If you ever get a chance to pick it up, I highly recommend grabbing this one. Alright, next up is a personal fave of mine. There actually used to be an arcade in a mall in the city that I live in. It was a place called Mind Boggle, and this machine was actually in the bottom and in the back. This is Dio. Pretty unique game for the time. It was one of the few shoot-em-ups that I've ever actually played that actually had 6 separate buttons. There's actually the pin header right here for all 6 buttons on it. So each button actually corresponded to a different weapon. I've actually jumpered it to the Japanese version of the game, what actually is you collect power-ups. So I personally like that a little bit better than dealing with 6 buttons because it kind of comes off as a little bit different. But Dio is definitely worth checking out. I got it pretty cheap. I'm sure you can check it out in MAME right now. I definitely say give it a whirl. It's pretty unique. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually the precursor to Shenru, which is a Warashi game. I think I pronounced that right. I'm not sure. But definitely check this one out. This one's pretty good. I don't see it for sale very often, but definitely if you ever check it out or see it up for sale, and if it's not too bad, I'd say definitely pick it up, man, because it's Dio. Alright, next up is another recent purchase, another CPS2 title. This one is Gigawing. This one I really enjoy. It's a vertical game, or it's a horizontal vertical game. Pretty unique. I like the music in it. It's pretty original. The game's got a little bit of a quirky setup in how it handles the whole. It's got a reflect barrier, and it's pretty unique. Interestingly enough, I'm actually guess this video is for a contest for the second one, so we'll have to see how that turns out. But Gigawing, I got it pretty recently. Played on the Dreamcast originally, loved the game, and picked it up when I could get a chance. This one actually has been phoenixed, so no worries of a battery dying or anything like that. This possibly could be a conversion as well. I'm not too sure. I'd actually have to check on that. But if you actually get a chance to snag this one, I say pick this one up as well. Alright, here's another CPS2 game. This was one of the first CPS2 titles I actually got. Pocket Fighter. This is the fighting game that was released for the puzzle fighter characters. 3-button gameplay. You got a punch, kick, and a special button. You collect gems, and that's actually how you build up your levels, and it actually builds up the strength of your specials that you actually use. Pretty quick and quirky fighter. Backgrounds definitely have a lot of fan service in it, and the characters are actually chibi, so everything looks real cute. A real good game. I don't know many people that actually play it. A lot of people kind of write it off as it just being too simplistic, but I actually really enjoy the game. But if you ever get a chance to pick it up, definitely check it out. One of my favorite Capcom fighters, outside of Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Street Fighter 2 Turbo or Hyper Fighting, if you want to, whichever one you want to use. Definitely, yeah, check it out, give it a chance. It's not too bad, it's pretty good, and it's pretty accessible to anybody. If you play the Capcom game, you can play Pocket Fighter. Alright, now we've got another pre-JAMA game. This one is pretty unique. I don't know much information about this one, but this is Gyrodyne. Pretty much, if anybody can give me any type of background on it, I only played it at my local arcade or my local shop. Picked it up recently. He had it in a dedicated machine. I don't have the wiring harness for it because honestly I can just build one of my own, so it's not that big of a deal. It does seem like the edge has got a little bit of a burn at the end, so I'll have to check that out. But it was working when it was pulled. But actually pretty decent. Another vertical shooter. Possibly maybe around the era of Tiger Heli or Tiger Heli, whatever you want to say. But pretty decent game. Got it real cheap, so I figured to go and grab it. About like $10-15 bucks. I don't remember how much I paid for it back then, but pretty good price. So if you ever get a chance, give it a try. See, you might actually like it. Alright, up is another CPS1 game. This one actually got kind of hot for a little bit. Actually, when I picked it up, I got it for a pretty good price. So, this is Willow for the Capcom CPS1 system. Side-scrolling game. My local arcade back home actually had a dedicated Willow for this. Played it quite a bit. Pretty hard, but I thoroughly enjoyed the game. Nice little cute platformer. Honestly, to be quite honest with you, there's not really a lot of top-shelf platformers that came out in the arcade, but this is definitely one of the better ones I ever played. So I picked this up from from a buddy of mine. So he gave me a pretty good deal on it, and I'd say definitely check it out if you can. It is kind of creeping up in price. It seems like it's turned into a hot commodity. I seem to notice, and I've made a couple comments to people, that it seems like every game that either as soon as I pick up or right before I pick up, it's almost like I mention that I want to pick it up, it automatically shoots up in price. So I don't know if it's a kind of like a conspiracy against, hey, Panda's looking for a board, so let's go ahead and start jacking prices, especially on the stuff that he's looking for. Who knows? But if you ever get a chance, definitely check out Willow, another top-shelf CPS1 title. It's kind of creeping up there. I've actually seen a couple of them go for about $140, $150. So you got to be kind of careful. Hopefully you can catch it up or catch the price on a real good cheap price. So if you can actually pick that up, definitely check out Willow. Alright, we're going to go back to another Konami title. This one is also a pre-JAMA title. Another Konami game. This one is Konami Jailbreak. I used to play this a lot in the arcade. Kind of has that little unique square head characters where you actually play a policeman, and there's been a jailbreak, and you actually have to capture all the prisoners and actually save hostages as well from the prisoners. Pretty good game. Not too expensive, kind of easy to find. It does use the Konami wiring harness, so you might either have to get a JAMA harness built, or you can actually buy the Konami to JAMA adapter. Usually they're too expensive. But definitely check this one out if you ever give a chance. It's a pretty good game. Not too difficult, good fun. It is 2 players, so definitely, pretty much all old arcade games, or one player, or two player rather, I should say. So definitely, if you get a chance to pick this up, if you see it kind of cheap, go ahead and snag it. You might actually enjoy it. Alright. We got a couple more titles we can go through real quick. Now, here's one. This is another Sega title. This is another System 16 board, and this actually has one of the things I was talking about in my earlier video. This is eSWAT. Actually, probably my least favorite Sega System 16 game, but this was actually bought in a package deal when I actually picked up Golden Axe, eSWAT, Altered Beast, and another title. And it was just so cheap for all four boards, I went ahead and snagged it. Now, this one does in fact have the Suicide 68000, whereas one of my other ones actually had a Suicide Z80. This one still runs. The battery is still working to this day. I don't know how old this board is. The last time I checked it, which was about 2 weeks ago, it actually still worked. I should probably really consider probably phoenixing pretty soon, because like I said before, it was just replacing the 68000 and reburning a couple of ROMs. I think it's only like one or two, and I'm sure it's probably going to be one of the mask ROMs. It probably won't be the EPROMs. eSWAT is okay. It's not too bad. The Genesis version had to be changed a little bit, so it's a little bit different. Pretty unique game. Some people like it, some people don't. But it's a System 16 game. So if you're if you liked it, I definitely say give it a whirl. Give it a try, see if you like it. Like I said, I picked it up in kind of a group buy, so I went ahead and just snagged it. So give it a whirl, check it out, and maybe you'll like it. Alright, and we're going to get back to another Cebu game, and this one is the original Raiden. This is one of the revisions that I have. I actually have another one. I probably won't ever show it because the board is kind of wonky. I've sent the picture of it to a couple of people, and they're not too sure what version it is. It does show it is the Japanese version, so it is a checkpoint version. This is actually a respawn version of the game, which means that when you die, your ship just respawns at the same point instead of actually forcing you to start earlier in the game. This is one of the original, just insanely hard shoot-'em-ups. Actually, the price kind of fluctuates pretty heavily on this one. If you do get a chance, I'd definitely say check out Raiden. Raiden is one of the original classics. Definitely put shooters on the map as far as just accessibility and difficulty. Prequel to the Raiden Fighter series, so if you ever get a chance to check it out. It's also ported to the PlayStation on the Raiden project, which actually includes Raiden and Raiden 2. But like I said, if you ever get a chance, I'm pretty sure everybody's ever played Raiden. If you're a shoot-'em-up fan, you either own this or you've actually played it. So, but if you're not, give it a try. You might actually really enjoy it. Definitely hard as nails, though. Alright, so now we're going to start into the unique games. These are the games that actually I really thoroughly enjoyed. We've got about 6 minutes left, so the last two we're going to kind of touch on kind of heavy. Alright, this one is Splatterhouse. This was actually sold about a month ago, and the buyer actually backed out of it literally the day I was going to sell it to him. So it was in my machine for testing, and he was going to come by and check it out and make sure that everything worked. We were going to play through it, but he actually backed out. Well, seeing the fact that he backed out, I went ahead and sat down and started playing it, and actually fell in love with the game again. The PC Engine version or / TurboGrafx port is actually really spot on to this, but I figured I have the Japanese Splatterhouse board, might as well keep it. It's pretty unique. I have noticed that it has started to pop up for sale recently, so I find that kind of curious because I really didn't see this game very often. But Splatterhouse, if you played it, it's a pretty good game. It's not fantastic, it's not great, but the atmosphere is kind of neat. They were trying to do a horror genre. It's not as crazy and nasty as most people like to write it off as, but it's pretty decent. So if you ever get a chance, at least play the ports. Fantastic game, pretty unique. Main character actually looks like Jason from Friday the 13th. But it's a 2-layer board. Pretty unique. It is stereo output, but it's got a really strange pinout on it that I haven't exactly really figured out just yet. Hopefully I can get it together and figure it out and see what's actually going on. But if you ever get a chance to play it, I recommend highly giving it a whirl, because I really think you'll enjoy it. So there it is. It's Splatterhouse. Alright, now this one was a buddy buy. I only played this a couple of times, and mainly only in emulation, just to kind of see what it was. But a friend of mine actually had it for sale, and it's funny too, because we've actually kind of sold each other some pretty unique boards, or at least he definitely got one of my more unique boards. But this is Tatsujin O, or Truxton 2. This is the Japanese version of the board. Pretty much, what can I say about this game? After playing it and sitting down with it, it's probably one of my favorite shoot-em-ups. The music is outstanding. The graphics are really well done. Very unique title. It's a Toplon game, so if you're familiar with Toplon, it's definitely one of the top shelf titles. This game is definitely starting to creep up in price, but love it. I'll never get rid of this board. This is a board that I will probably keep forever. So if you ever get a chance to play this, I highly, highly recommend this. This is definitely one I would say probably should be in everybody's collection, if you can actually find one. But definitely give it a try. I think you guys will like it. Definitely if you like the original Tatsujin / Truxton, you'll definitely love this. Only a couple ports have been done for this that I'm aware of. I know there's actually one on the FM Towns, if I'm not mistaken, and there was actually a version on the X68000. I could be totally wrong. Don't kill me for that, because I'm not too sure. But actually, fantastic game. Highly recommend you guys checking it out. I think you'll really dig it. Alright guys, there's really only a few minutes left. I just basically wanted to touch base with you guys real quick and tell you I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. I hope you enjoyed the stuff that you see. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I do have one more video. Obviously with the last couple, it was the start of the games that were really important to me, and definitely in the next video we'll pretty much have my cream of the crop, the games that I enjoy the most, that I definitely love the most. It was ones that I was definitely after, and obviously my first PCB I ever bought will actually be in that actual video. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. I got one more video up for you guys, and then I promise it's all done. Alright, later guys.